Afternoon and TGIF. I'm Chad Silver. Welcome to 4 to 5. That's Sydney Moore. She always gets a kick out of me for some reason.
Thank goodness it's Friday.
Thank goodness it's Friday. That's Tim Buckley, and we're just happy to be here. Beautiful day outside.
It
Really
is
nice.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Have you been outside?
Oh my gosh. I was supposed to do a little bit of walking, so the
Yeah.
only time that I really enjoyed outside was because I was running errands. But still beautiful weather.
It's nice. No sweating right now. It's warm, but not as bad as it could be. And it's going to get better tonight, too.
I heard you have got quite the forecast for tomorrow.
I have a big surprise for y'all.
Ooh, we love surprises. Well, I do.
Yeah, before we get to that, it is a big night for high school football. Friday Football Fever is back. We have live team coverage of our game of the week, Grimsley at Mount Tabor.
Yeah, Jalen and Amanda are going to get you up to speed with tonight's matchup. Plus, Hannah Jeffries is looking at safety and security. So let's start there. Hannah, how are school districts preparing for hundreds of fans?
Yeah, guys, safety is top of mind at these games, and everybody wants to come and have a good time, but not everybody always behaves. For example, last week in Guilford County, we had 2 teens that were charged with bringing weapons onto campus during one of the football jamborees. In light of that, I spoke to the Winston-Salem Forsyth County school system about what precautions they have in place. Here's what their safety director had to say.
We will have our clear bag policy where we want folks to bring their items in a clear bag so we can see what's in that. Things that they don't need to bring, we'd ask folks to leave at home. And then we're having to walk through metal detectors to make sure, just a second guess, to make sure that folks don't have anything that they shouldn't be bringing into the stadium. Beyond that, we have wands that we would use if the metal detector were to be set off.
Well, now, they say these are the same rules that they've had for the past few years, so if you have any questions about them and you need to go read up on it before you come to the game tonight, they have it on their website. For now, live in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County, Hannah Jeffries, WFMY News 2.
Hannah, thank you. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, we are continuing this conversation about safety and sporting events. With hundreds of fans expected to pack high school football stadiums across the Triad, you'll want to keep a cool head. So Blanca Cobb is joining us for a discussion about game etiquette and dealing with large crowds. Now let's get to the action. High school football fans have been waiting for the first game of the year.
Oh yeah, the Friday Night Lights will be back on for our game of the week, Grimsley at Mount Tabor. Jalen and Amanda are there live with a preview. Hey guys.
Hey guys, we are getting ready for our Friday Football Fever game of the week. We are here at Mount Tabor. They're about to host Grimsley for week 1 of high school football. Matthias Banks here, Kevin Frazier, both defensive guys here.
Yeah guys, and first question for you is, I know coming off last year, it didn't end how you wanted to, but what are you guys going to have to do different to make sure you'll be at the end to compete for that state championship?
Be executed and have discipline.
And so my next question for you, as for tonight, we got a big test with the Grimsley team that's, very, very popular. A lot of people's picks for the 4A state championship. What does tonight mean to you guys and how you guys have been feeling all week long?
Tonight for us means execution, going out there doing our job. All 11 players on the field do the job at the exact same time. It means that we have the opportunity to upset the biggest team in the state, and it means a lot to us.
You're a junior on this team, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you've done this a couple of years. What's your favorite part about Friday night under the lights?
My favorite part is just taking in the moment, doing what I can.
And I would say my last question for you, buddy, is tonight, for you to make the biggest impact possible, what is your job and how are you going to execute?
I'm going to just go 100%. Keep my teammates in good spirits, and we're finna go win this ball game.
That's what we like to hear.
Well, good luck, guys, tonight. Grimsley and Mount Tabor right here at 7 p.m. We'll have all the action covered for you, plus a bunch of other teams across the Triad coming up on WFMY News 2 at 11 tonight.
All right, there you go. All business getting ready for the games, and the weather's going to cooperate. A lot of times, especially in the early weeks, we have rain or storms as a concern. You don't have to worry about it for this evening. Everything's in good shape here. Let's take a look at our weather cameras across the region. Lots of bright blue sky with only a couple of puffy clouds. Now, numbers like this are pretty much the same as where we were yesterday or the day before, mid to upper 80s, but it does feel different. If you step outside right now, it feels less hot, or at least less sticky than the last couple of days. This is why your dew point temperature, we talk about it all throughout the summer months as being a key to your comfort. When it's around 60 degrees or below, there's not much water in the air, and so we're not feeling it that badly, and that is where we are headed. These are going to continue to drop as we go into tonight. I mentioned no rain. There's your proof. Nothing showing up on radar right now. Your first football forecast of the season. Of course, our game of the week, Mount Tabor taking on Grimsley. Temperatures in the low 80s at kickoff, but we are cooling down. Should be low 70s by around 9 to 10 o'clock this evening. And this is that big surprise. If you're doing something, you're cooking in the kitchen, look at the TV. This is something we haven't had in over 2 months. 50s for lows up around the Virginia border, right around 61 to 60 in many of our Triad cities. Coolest night in a couple of months for you. It'll feel nice tomorrow morning. Now that cool morning does still warm up to a warm Saturday afternoon with sunshine. We'll be in the mid 80s. And then as the rest of your forecast comes into view, we're warming it up. Temperatures going right back into the 90s by early next week.
Tim, thank you. Nuclear power could be on the way to residents in several Triad counties. It would replace the coal and natural gas powered at the Blues Creek Steam Station. Now, according to a Duke Energy spokesperson, nuclear already produces about 80% of the carbon-free energy in the Carolinas. This new technology would not only be zero emissions, but could also create hundreds of new jobs.
The beauty of nuclear is it is available 24/7. So the middle of the night, cloudy winter days where you have very little solar production, nuclear help balances that out. And at the same time, it has zero emissions.
Duke Energy still needs to submit their proposals to state and federal regulators for approval.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, High Point police say they are looking for the 2 kids who stole 7 cars from an auto shop this week. Surveillance video shows them stealing the cars from Star Auto 2 nights in a row. The owner told us all but 2 of the cars have been recovered.
In Randolph County, deputies say they are looking for people caught on camera stealing from a truck. Video shows 2 people going through a truck off Highway 49 in Liberty. You see them open several doors and the trunk. Investigators didn't specify what was stolen.
A bill that would make all sorts of changes to our state election laws is now on Governor Cooper's desk. It allows poll observers to monitor voting at every polling location. It also allows registered voters to challenge voter registration of any other voter. Cooper is expected to veto the bill.
Soon we will know if it's safe for students and teachers to return to Andrews Elementary. Alamance Burlington schools say final repairs and air quality tests to the school's HVAC system will be completed this weekend. As we've reported, the district discovered mold at Andrews a couple weeks ago, and crews have been working to remove it ever since. Officials say teachers may be allowed to return to the building next week. And meanwhile, mold cleanings are getting underway at Newland Elementary after mold was found there, too. The district says it's working on plans in case the cleanup isn't done in time for the first day of school. Officials say HVAC issues in both schools caused the mold growth. They say the cleaning and HVAC repairs should cost the district over $1.2 million. We'll be right back.
All right, I am talking about dealing with crowds.
Well, Friday Football Fever returns tonight, and stands will be packed with fans cheering their favorite high school teams. But sometimes big crowds at big events can get a little tense, and today we're going to be talking all about it. So Blanca Cobb, who has a master's degree in psychology, joins us this afternoon to talk about game etiquette. Let's get into it. Blanca, what is it about crowds that can be too close for comfort?
It's all about physical space. When people feel cramped, and particularly they're around people who they don't know, then they can feel uncomfortable. Also, if you add on top of that, if the person beside you is cheering for the opposing team, it kind of grates your nerves a little bit.
And what are body language cues that people are getting annoyed and they might not be telling you that they're getting annoyed?
Listen to their tone of voice, particularly how they're talking to you or in your direction versus when they're talking to their friend. And if you notice a difference and with you it's a little gruffer, then you know something isn't quite right. Also, some people will take up more space to make you close in. It's a subconscious way of just kind of like getting you to move aside. Sometimes people will turn away from you. Another thing is when they're talking to you or looking in your direction, pay attention to their facial expressions, particularly any facial muscle tension or twitches for the forehead, with their lips or their jaws or that chin jut and it comes out. It's all letting you know that they're feeling a little bothered.
What are some tips to de-escalate tension with someone?
This really is about you. Although someone might be instigating it perhaps, but it's you just making sure you have a neutral tone of voice. You're using neutral words to help de-escalate the situation, calming. So what that means and what that looks like is that you're validating their feelings. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but if you validate their emotions, and then also when you're talking to them, give them some space. Because again, when people feel cramped or closed in, they don't like it. And some people can just feel a little more aggressive, if you will. And when you're talking to someone, you want to make sure that you're catty corner to them. Off center is what I mean, not face to face. Face to face can really be perceived as more confrontational. And the last thing is watch when you're talking to someone, you go, It's that para language, and it's all in how you elongate it or the emphasis that you put on it. There's a difference in a versus a that can just aggravate a situation.
That's right. And one more question for you. How could younger children be impacted by seeing their parent in a heated moment out there?
Some kids will get scared. They're not sure what to do. So as a parent, you want to make sure that if you feel like the situation with another adult could be getting tense, that your child is safe, make sure they're to your side or behind you so they're protected. And always remember that they're watching you, because you're modeling to them how to handle a tense situation with someone. And then afterwards, when you're away, when you're home, then you want to have an explanation and talk to them and say, hey, what did you see? What did you notice? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how this could be, how it went well, and then what I might do differently next time. So it's also a life lesson rolled up and then watching what's happening with you.
All right, all good stuff. Well, Blanca, thank you so much. If you enjoyed our chat today, you can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, Body Language Expert. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Friday afternoon, we are getting you ready for a weekend here in the Triad, and it's changing. The weather is changing as we speak. You might remember 2 days ago, no humidity. Yesterday, it got humid again. Now we're getting rid of it again. So it's kind of that Carolina weather that keeps you on your toes. Our part of the state already more comfortable than it was for this morning. And the weather setup is this. We have a cold front that you didn't even really notice. It moved through today. It's a dry cold front, meaning no rain showers, no thunderstorms. Thank goodness for that. A high pressure building in. It's going to give us a fall feel for tomorrow morning. Temperatures cooler than they've been in about 2 months. We'll be in the low 60s to start off your Saturday. Now, high pressure is with you all day tomorrow. It keeps it sunny and pretty comfortable. Still mid 80s, but no humidity makes it doable. At the same time, all this heat is building in the middle of the country, and I do think we're going to have to deal with it. By Sunday, it's close to 90 for the afternoon, and it only gets worse than that. By Monday and Tuesday, that heat is really just spilling toward us here in the Carolinas, and we'll have mid 90s to deal with. The big weather story, not here, but across the country, it is in the Pacific Ocean. You see that big one? That is Hurricane Hillary, as it's called. It is moving toward Baja California, Mexico, but more importantly for the U.S., Southern California. The first ever tropical storm watches have been issued for SoCal. They'll be dealing with that Sunday night into Monday.
Did you know there's a jail for plants? It's a dangerous world out there, but one garden in England is especially threatening. The caretakers are cultivating some of the world's most toxic and lethal plants, and they're even offering tours. But beware, getting too close could be deadly.
This is not your typical English garden. Don't stop to smell the roses here.
Every plant can hurt you in some way. Most can kill you.
It's more of a prison for murderous Mother Nature, and John Knox is the warden.
The rules are no touching, no tasting, no picking.
The poison garden in the north of England holds roughly 100 dangerous offenders, including hemlock, deadly nightshade, wolfsbane, and ricin.
This is Ricinus cumanus, the castor bean plant. So this is the most poisonous plant in the world, and that's why it's in a cage. And from one plant on a good season, you get somewhere between 2,500 to 7,500 potential deaths.
Some plants here have been used by serial killers, assassins, and the common criminal.
Guaranteed they're going to be dead, the victims, within 4 days. There is no antidote.
Visiting hours attract curious cultivators.
And you do automatically find yourself with your hands in your pockets to make sure that you aren't actually tempted to touch any of the plants.
Gardener Amy Thorpe's job is to touch the plants. She suits up before applying her green thumb.
If you get the sap on your skin as well, it can cause really bad blistering.
Do you ever get nervous working in here?
Yes, when you're hearing about all of the things that are around you and all of the things that they can do to you, it does get in your head sometimes.
The most notorious inmate just arrived from Australia.
So in this cage we've got the Gimpy plant. The sting from this has like been set on fire and electrocuted at the same time, and it's going to continue for several months.
Plants here do find redemption, some having medicinal properties, and all serving to educate.
Wow, people have passed out from just walking through the garden. Guides say 80 visitors have fainted this year, but say that it's more out of fear than from interacting with the plants.
Oh, fear.
Well, I'm gonna be the first to say I think this is cool.
I think it's
yeah?
cool,
I
too.
do,
Yeah, me too.
oddly, but I do think it's interesting that they offer this as a tour for something to be, you know, so dangerous as they say. I could see maybe it being like you're on a bus or something and you drive by so that you're a little far, but they're just walking around with no mask or any type
Keep
of
your
thing
fingers
on.
out of the
And the
cage,
kids
right?
there too, so.
I kind of like their it's like a morbid excitement
Yes,
over it.
absolutely.
You can tell the guy's proud of all these plants. Like, look at this one. That one can really do some damage. It is educational, though, and probably a good reminder. You know, your mom always told you if you're out playing outside, don't eat the berries, right? Something like that.
You almost have to make sure your kids are like right near you.
I couldn't believe that they had a ricin plant. If you remember that people used ricin as a poison to poison people, I think it was probably a decade or two ago. The crazy part the stat that he said was that one plant of the ricin could kill up to 7,000 people.
Oh my gosh,
One plant. Because I think they make it into a powder form, and that's how they do it.
That one in that cage, I was like, did you see it? It was like in a cage, and I was like,
Plant jail.
wait.
bad plans.
What an interesting story. I enjoyed it.
They don't know they're bad.
Yeah.
They're just doing their best.
We'll be right back. Well, check this out. It's a race to the top from the bottom. The Iowa State Fair is underway and hundreds of people are signing up for the cow chip throwing contest. Connor O'Neill shows us how they are getting down and dirty to be number one.
We all know that cow poop can be really smelly, but some people here at the fairgrounds were digging their hands into it voluntarily. Hundreds of Iowans circled Pioneer Hall to watch people throw cow poop.
That's painted yellow. That's from 2011 when they had the butter cow competition.
Think so?
Yeah, I know so because I won that year.
Yes, literally cow poop.
Competition can have really good athletes who can't throw it as far as somebody who just gets a good piece of cow poop.
That competitors try to throw as far as they can.
I'm looking for something that really fits my hand and I can really get my finger wrapped around it because that's going to give me that extra push.
Once each person picks up their poop, it's slinging time.
That's going to be a good throw. Nice.
Some throws go far.
50. Nice job, Diana.
While others were a little poopy.
That's all right.
And some kids even got in on the action.
That's a good throw. 3 kids went after that cow chip.
Once everyone's arms are wiped out, competitors started receiving their ribbons.
And this year I just got third for 66 feet. So
excited about third place?
I'm excited. I was hoping to defend my title, but I'll take it. It's all for fun.
Fun, or just try new things at the Iowa State Fair.
And this is something that I kind of did well at, so I enjoy it, and just to kind of participate and have fun at the fair.
So what other weirdness can you check out at the fairgrounds? Well, on Thursday, there's going to be a bubble gum blowing contest and big wheel races you can come check out here.
Wow, well, just check this off onto I've seen it all checklist because I've never heard of something like this before. Interesting.
Nope.
You know what's funny about, in my opinion, about the Iowa State Fair? I've never been, but you can either throw cow poop or you can hear from politicians running for president, right? Like they're all there.
Some people would say they're related.
They're very
yeah,
similar.
that's very funny. This is just an oddball. I think state fairs, they try and one-up each other on weird things to eat, weird things to do.
Yep.
I remember where I grew up, the New York State Fair, they had a giant butter sculpture every year. And it was literally like 10 or 20 feet tall, and they etched out all this stuff, and it was all made of butter.
Wow.
In a chilled room.
Yeah.
That's great.
But you can throw cow stuff, I guess.
So did you guys take part in this, though?
Would I? Sure.
None of them. I want to have a glove on.
Yeah.
They didn't have any gloves.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'll watch.
Right. The glove is smart.
Are you going?
Are you
but
going?
I'll watch.
No.
But, you know.
On watch.
Well, before we go to break, don't forget about our state fair tickets. They are on sale. It's still about 2 months away, but discount tickets are available right now. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Chad Silver here with Tim Buckley and Sydney Moore. We are glad you're here. I have the Friday vibes today.
Friday vibes for Friday Football Fever. It's going to be a great day and some good weather. Panthers as well, too.
And the weather, yeah. I mean, it's going to be great.
It's kind of got like a fall vibe going on.
Okay.
It's not like that yet, but I'm just telling you.
This is fake fall, isn't it?
Tomorrow morning, you're going to want that coffee.
It's fake fall, though, right?
It will be very fake. Very limited.
Yes. Well, tell me more.
Okay, well, we're just going to tell you all about it. The forecast is real, but the fall feeling might be limited, let's say. All right, so right now it's warm outside. We're in the 80s. We have some sunshine. We also have a couple of just fair weather clouds, just some puffy ones this afternoon. Temperatures look like this. You're at 87 in Asheboro, 88 in Siler City, mid 80s basically everywhere across the Triad area. Now, tomorrow afternoon, it's still going to basically look like that. Temperatures around 84 to 85. But here's the key. Our humidity is just falling off the map right now. We're already seeing dew points going down into the 50s, which means when you step outside this evening, it's already feeling less oppressive, not as humid. And you know, the humidity has a lot to do with how we feel in the summertime, so that's why it's feeling pretty good. If you have plans this evening, whether you're going to high school football week 1 or not, this is what you can plan on. Your hour-by-hour forecast does take us into the 80s through around 7 o'clock, but we're cooling after that. After sunset, we already go down into the low 70s, closer to 9 and 10, and this is what you look forward to tomorrow morning. You honestly could open up the windows if you'd like to kind of air out the house for the first time in a while. We're looking at mid-50s near the Virginia border. The North Carolina mountains will be in the 40s. Now the Triad cities right around 60, 61, 62. It'll still be warm Saturday afternoon, plan on around 84 degrees, lots of sun, no humidity. It's a gorgeous day tomorrow in our area. Now the heat will be coming back. We'll dive into your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes and tell you how hot it gets next week.
Tim, thank you. Officials in Maui say a little more than a half of the disaster area from last week's deadly fires have been searched. The death toll currently remains at 111 victims, but that number is expected to climb.
Multiple containers are parked outside the Maui Forensics office as coroners work to identify the remains of the Maui wildfire victims.
A lot of the remains that we're finding are almost unrecognizable.
One organization helping survivors is King's Cathedral Church in Kahului, providing shelter and basic needs for people who have lost everything.
We started with just one room, and now we had such an overwhelming response with donations that is pretty much taken over all of our rooms here at the church that we have free space in.
I've heard that when people come, you guys aren't just giving them or letting them come through. You guys are creating little bags, little packets.
Yeah. So everything is sorted by size: men's, women's, children, youth.
The church says even some people who lost their homes are volunteering, wanting to do their part.
I'm just so grateful to be a part of a culture and of an island that wants to support each other.
For many Lahaina residents, the trauma of what happened is just starting to sink in.
A lot of us haven't even had time to grieve. I mean, we're just slowly getting out of the survivor mode.
They say the needs on the island are so vast and they are preparing to stay strong for the long haul.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. President Biden is hosting a summit at Camp David with the leaders of Japan and South Korea today. Security concerns is the topic of discussion in hopes of forming a united front against China. Experts say the countries are committing to military cooperation to protect the Pacific and creating a hotline to respond readily to any emerging threats. The Biden administration says it hopes the summit creates a new era of cooperation.
Former President Trump has a week to turn himself in for booking at a Georgia jail. He faces 13 counts in this investigation. The DA accuses him and others of trying to interfere with the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. In total, Trump is facing 91 criminal charges.
Long-term mortgage rates are reportedly the highest it has been in 20 years. They increased to 7.09% this week, the highest since 2002. Officials say it's causing a lack of available homes. Experts say the high rates could add hundreds of dollars to people's monthly costs, making things even more unaffordable for many Americans.
A battle over coffee is brewing in Louisiana. The owners of an online coffee company are at odds with Starbucks over trademarking and name rights. Is this a case of a huge company trying to flex its muscle against the little guys, or is there something to it?
It's a typical day for Sarah Hamilton, busy packing up boxes of orders from her nautical-themed apparel brand for fans across the world, all from a building behind their home in Livingston Parish. It's a company she started with her mom, Monica.
We were living in Florida, and I grew up in Alaska, so I missed the mountains, but we were living by the beach, and I wanted to write a blog called Mountains and Mermaids. And we moved back to Alaska and decided to take that brand name and turn it into a brand.
As a former barista, Sarah knew she wanted to somehow incorporate coffee into the new company years ago.
And we came out with the Sirens Brew design, and then people would ask us, well, are you going to carry coffee? That's what we did, and we started carrying coffee. And then that's how we got into our mess with Starbucks.
The Sirens Brew Coffee Co. was born under the Mountains and Mermaids brand, but soon after, the women say they found themselves in a legal predicament with Starbucks over the trademark. Starbucks claims this mom and daughter team can't use the Siren name or logo for coffee, even if their design looks nothing like the Starbucks mermaid.
They basically felt like they have common, like common law rights essentially to the term siren in conjunction with coffee because they're Starbucks.
So this has been an ongoing legal fight for 4 years now for this small business, and just when they thought they were in the clear, Starbucks hit them with even more legal issues.
And not only did they oppose our trademark, they also opposed it for our clothing. So we had one for our clothing and one for the coffee, and they opposed both of those. So then we joined the cases together. We won the clothing, but we didn't win the coffee.
That ruling was made just a few months back, absolutely crushing the small business owners.
A lot of small businesses didn't make it through COVID. And
we did.
We did. And then to get slapped again, it's hard.
The women describe their fight as something similar to David versus Goliath, with most of their proceeds from sales going towards legal bills now. They say they will continue to fight to do what they love and protect that valuable trademark.
It doesn't matter whether you're Starbucks, Dunkin', Nike, whatever. Small businesses should also have the right to protect their brand just as much as anybody else. We pay the same application fee as the billion-dollar companies.
The ladies will continue to sell their coffee while they challenge the ruling, and business isn't slowing down. They sold around 300 pounds of coffee online just last month alone.
Yeah, devastating to hear, and obviously the passion and sadness in their voice as well too. And I know for some and many small business owners, it's already hard and difficult to even start one, let alone. It's a difficult.
Yeah, I think this is ridiculous. Honestly, honestly, when I drink Starbucks often, and I never even would register that there was a mermaid in their logo. And so it's one thing to have a mermaid in a logo and not being allowed this other company to have a mermaid. They don't look anything alike. That's like saying this company is allowed to have a dog, and since they have a dog in their logo, this other company can't have any sort of dog in their logo.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand a lot of the precedents here, or I don't know how to do anything like that. But to me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't seem like it looks the same or is the same. Probably one has better lawyers than the other is what I'm getting.
Yeah, I kind of hope that Starbucks gets kind of like a black eye from this, because I don't see, again, like you said, I'm not an expert, but there is no similarity.
Maybe we should buy some of their coffee. What do you think?
That's a good
Can
idea.
We go buy some?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this next story will warm your heart. Adele, the singer, broke down into tears after being asked to help a couple of fans with their gender reveal. The singer announced the New York couple was having a baby boy and even invited them to announce her next baby when she has one at a future concert. So it's been a growing trend at concerts even around the country. The fans made a poster to get Adele's attention. So that's so sweet.
Can we bring the audio up on that? I know we were trying to.
Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Bye, thank you.
Anyway.
But I've seen Adele a lot of times really kind of take a pause while she's singing.
Really?
And she really does have conversations with people within her audience. But I'm definitely a fan of Adele, but that's just so precious to see.
One thing I loved about this video is that she, like Adele, gets like visibly emotional after she does it. She cries.
Yeah, she's very into it.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think I think that she said she's never done this before. She's never been asked this before. And she just like got very emotional about the idea that she was able to help, that someone would consider asking her to help reveal the gender.
And then wanting that couple to be a part of her gender reveal. Isn't that so precious? So it's
Think about when they grow up, they're going to have that video to show to the boy, right?
I know.
Yes,
hey, look,
the boy.
here's how we figured out about you.
Right.
That's cool.
Bye, Adele.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, how many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop? A 1, a 2, a 3? 3. marks the 74th anniversary of WFMY News 2. It was August 18th, 1949. WFMY TV marked its very first live television broadcast for the station.
And this is the key. It was also the first live broadcast in North Carolina.
The whole state.
And that broadcast lasted for 4 minutes, 25 seconds. It was a success, right, for that long.
Yeah.
But there were some bumps out of the gate.
Yeah, former WFMY News 2 engineer Doyle Thompson described the play-by-play of that first broadcast.
We had the first live, of course, in the state, and Don Hardison was our announcer. And the night of this first live newscast, we were all set to go, and we were all keyed up. I was sitting at the video console. As I remember, Bill Young was sitting at the audio console for the sound. So we got all ready, and we gave Don the cue to start talking. We immediately put him on the air. You could see Don, you could see his mouth moving, but we didn't have any sound. And so we stopped and started over again. We went back to a slide and then got all ready, and we cued him again. We found we'd had the wrong microphone or something to this effect. Cued him again, and up came Don. Beautiful picture, mouth moving, no sound. And about that time, Don was getting a little unhappy with the situation too. And just as the audio man found the correct switch and threw the switch, we heard on the air the first words, "Judas Priest." And this was from Hardison because he was a little unhappy. But after that, things ran pretty smooth.
Live TV is still unpredictable today. You can imagine that on the very first broadcast.
For sure.
I love that the worst word he could come up with, Judas Priest.
Yeah, that's good. It wasn't worse than that. Yeah, right?
That's
Yes,
right.
yes, we've all been there.
That's cool.
And so, you know, lots of things have changed, and yet lots of things have stayed the same, right? We still do a newscast.
Sure.
It's not 4 minutes anymore. It's much longer.
There are still technical difficulties every once in a while.
There are.
And you roll with the punches.
That's right.
Kind of cool though to see through the years. You know, we actually have a wall in our newsroom now that has a lot of those memories, and it kind of goes decade by decade, and you can see how it's changed.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I honestly love walking by it and just looking at all the different pictures and saying, ooh, look at that, and even just asking questions, because that's the perfect time to ask questions if you do and learn more about the history.
It's incredible how much technology has changed over that time. Even if you just take like the last 20 years, you know, sometimes the younger people in our newsroom will ask, how did you go to stories when you didn't have a phone that had GPS? And it's like, well, we just printed out MapQuest out, right? But like you had to use maps.
Sure.
I mean, and that's just one little part of it.
Lots of things have changed. Of course, we wouldn't have this history, of course, without you, our News 2 community. Speaking of which, the very first broadcast, and look there's our station back in the day. TV owners in Raleigh, Blowing Rock, Wilmington, and Danville, Virginia reported the reception of that very first newscast. So different kind of footprint than what we have today. The newscast made WFMY become the 76th commercial television station in the country to go on the air. So super cool. And I know a lot of people, as they're looking at this video, they're thinking to themselves, oh, I remember when they either built the station, or I remember when they used to have certain programs that I would come to as a kid, or things that I would watch and that kind of jazz. So super fun. All right. That means next year is the biggie, friends. That's right. We look forward to celebrating the 75th with you. I know.
What's the plan?
I don't know. We're going to make plans. There's going to have to be a big birthday cake or something, right? I think so too. All right. We'll see you then. We'll be back.
A potentially rare storm is churning in the Pacific Ocean. Right now, a Category 4 hurricane is gaining strength on the western coast of Mexico. The storm, named Hillary, could reach Southern California as the first tropical storm in 84 years. As we speak, California residents are preparing for the worst. Forecasters say the storm could cause extreme flooding, mudslides, and even tornadoes.
This is really rare, and to put it in another way, this might not be that big of a deal for the southeast. It should be a tropical storm by the time it reaches California, but you think about it another way, that's the desert basically out there. And this storm coming up that coastline is going to bring a ton of rainfall. They could get upwards of 1 to 2 years worth of rainfall by their standards. They only get a couple inches of rain a year in Southern California. They are expecting a lot this weekend. Now for us, our weather is calm. We have beautiful action tonight, down to 62 for your low. Tomorrow's a great day of weather as well, with lots of sunshine into the 80s. But after that heat you see in the middle of the country, it's starting to come our way. So I expect by Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, you're going to start to feel it. So here's the forecast for you. We go into tomorrow, beautiful weather, lots of sun, 84 for the high. Heading into the rest of the forecast, it gets a little hotter, everybody. Mid-90s Monday into Tuesday. Enjoy that crisp fall air while it's here tomorrow morning.
Soon, kids will be heading back to class for a new school year. With the official first day less than 2 weeks away, parents will want to start preparing for a new sleep routine right now. Megan Bragg verifies what you need to know.
Summertime is not only a great time for kids to sleep in, but also parents if they can. Even though it's nice to catch up on those extra Z's, is it better to get your kids back into the school wake-up schedule before school starts? Let's verify.
Our sources, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, Dr. Brian Chen, sleep specialist for the Cleveland Clinic, and Dr. John White, chief medical officer for WebMD. Soon, those alarm clocks will be ringing for school children. And Dr. Chen says the sooner you turn them back earlier, the easier the transition.
So it's important to start that transition early so that there's not a big jump whenever you get back to going to school, and there's not going to be that whiplash where you're kind of real tired.
Dr. White agrees and suggests kids go to bed 15 minutes earlier every day or every other day to make the adjustment.
Wake up time, shifting that 15 minutes earlier as well, every couple of days. And that includes on the weekends.
The American Academy of Sleep Medicine says preschoolers require 10 to 13 hours of sleep. Kids ages 6 to 12 require 9 to 12 hours of sleep, and teens require 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Dr. White says if you don't gradually adjust the kids' wake-up schedule, that first day of school will be a shock to their system.
Kids aren't going to be able to wake up on time. You're going to be rushed and hectic in the morning, and nobody wants that. And then they may have trouble concentrating that first week or two in class.
So we can verify that, yes, it is better to get your kids back into the school wake-up schedule before school starts. That way they are set up for success in getting adequate sleep when it counts.
Before we go to break, we have a Panthers programming note for you. Since we are the official home of the Carolina Panthers, we're airing the Panthers preseason game tonight. Coverage starts at 7, so it'll impact your shows. Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy will air back-to-back starting at 10 p.m., followed by WFMY News 2 at 11. Then Fire Country and Blue Bloods will air overnight, starting at 1:38 a.m. We'll see you at 5.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check, mic check, 1, 2, mic check.
Brett, what's up, man? We're here at Tabor for the game of the week, the biggest game that the Triad has to offer today. Mount Tabor taking on Grimsley. Cool. That's kind of what my answer is just going to be, all right?
Yes.
Mic check for Tim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hi, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Kevin. Hey, hold on 1 second, Kevin. Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Hi, I'm so sorry my microphone was not on, but now I am here. We are talking about the Burlington Social District.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents, and today we are talking back to school. So I was looking at a website called cafemom.com, and they had funny tweets from parents talking about kids going back to school. So I thought I would tell you a couple of them that really made me laugh. One lady said, her son says, I want to be more organized this year. And then she said, also my son, showing up to the car ready to go with only one shoe and asking if we can stop and get a binder on the way. I have maybe 2 of those in my 4. Then there was one who said, nothing makes a parent appreciate going back to school than having 3 months when your kids aren't in school. So true. This one I like too. Your kids will not appreciate pictures of you popping champagne corks after you drop them at school for the first day. I thought, you know what? Some of these are true because parents, it's hard in the summer months when you're dealing with a kid that's saying, I'm bored, and you say, go outside and get off screens, and it's blah, blah, blah. It's nonstop, right? So I remember there used to be a back to school commercial that I thought was so cruel when I was younger, and now I really understand it. It shows kids and parents going back to school shopping, and they played the Christmas Carol. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and the kids all look sad and the parents look happy, and it always cracked me up. So kids, I'm sorry, it's a rite of passage. It's what we all have to do, and parents, here we go, we get a break. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Another Triad city is joining the sip and stroll trend.
Burlington is looking to boost downtown businesses with the recently approved social district. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake visited downtown to chat with people about the social district coming next month.
In a little over a month, you'll be